know. This seance was recorded on the 3rd of August 1987, medium Leslie Flint.
How nice to hear you, Mickey.
What was that you said?
How nice to hear you.
Oh, I thought I heard him say,
Well, somebody's lost photographs of mine, Mickey.
what?
Of Marilyn Monroe. Remember when Leslie and I were in Hollywood? Took some photographs of her crypt and they've lost them all.
Oh, I don't know nothing about that.
No. Well, I thought you said you wanted to know what's saying.
I'd like to talk to that lady next to Jean.
Oh, hello, Mickey.
How are you?
I'm fine. Well, I'm better than when I last came, which was a long time ago.
Well, you've come out of the wood.
Yes, just about, Mickey. Only just.
Do what?
Only just.
Yes, you're all right. You've just come out of the wood. Now you're going to get on the straight and narrow.
Right. How do I do it?
Well, don't know.
Oh, lovely.
You're a bit of a case, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
I don't know. But everybody's telling me to tell you
Yes.
that you're, of course, quite naturally, you're perturbed in the way, as you call it, but they say, tell her things are now on the mend, and she's going to be all right. But she's not to get, what's the word? They don't want you to get upset or uptight. Just let things take their course, and you're going to be okay. You'll come out of the wood all right. And now you're going to get on the straight and narrow. I don't mean you've got to be that good.
Oh, I know.
But do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, I don't know what to say certain things. Are you in love?
No, not at all.
Well, just as well then. Well, I don't know how to put it. You've got to get yourself sorted out, and you are getting sorted out. But I think I hate to say this, but
Oh, no.
you've got to be a bit of a loner.
I am already, Mickey. That's
Yeah,
all.
and I think that this is something you have to accept for the time being.
Right.
But you've had a big upheaval and an upset, and there's been several things, and of course you're a lot of concern. But you're out of the worst of it.
Oh, good. That's lovely to know.
But don't tell, I don't know how I should say that. But somebody says don't believe everything you're told. I think there is some influence that
Yes, there
may be
is.
put to bear on you, and you've got to be strong in yourself, and you've not got to let people push you around or dissuade you. And you've got to say, yes, okay, thank you, you mean well, sort of thing. Or at least you don't say it, you think it. And you just look after yourself.
Okay. Mickey, those influences...
Do what?
Oh, God. Those influences, are they on my level, I mean our level down here, or in your level?
Beg your pardon?
Are they dead or alive? Are they dead or alive? Yes.
Well, there's no such thing as anyone being dead.
No,
But I'm told you're on this, I'm being told from this side to tell you they want you to try to see, well, they just want you to be patient with yourself and not to be unduly upset or worried or sort of, you know, just let things take their course and don't force any issues. But there's a great bond. And also, may I ask you a very personal question?
Yeah.
Do you know something about a ring that was mislaid?
No, not at all, Mickey dear.
Sorry.
No, I don't. Oh! Yeah, I mean years and years ago.
Yes, all right.
Yes, yes.
I wasn't recent, obviously,
Mm.
but there was some perturbation, or whatever you call it, because of a ring that got mislaid and thought had been lost.
That's right.
But this is when you was a girl.
Oh, no.
Hey?
No.
What do you mean, no?
I mean, it wasn't when I was a girl. It was about 8 years ago.
Well, you're still a girl, weren't you?
Oh,
I
there
mean,
you
the
go.
point is, I know time's a problem.
Yes. I
But
know.
that's straightened out. I don't know why it is I keep on about these things, but did you have a big upheaval or move some 7 or 8 years ago?
No, I didn't, Mickey dear. I had had a move about 3.5 years ago, but it was a very happy one.
Well, maybe that's it then, now, because time's always a bit of a problem.
I know.
But they're talking about the changeover and the move, and
Yes.
they're getting sorted out. But it seems to me that you've definitely come through the worst.
Oh, good. That's marvellous news.
Pity about the hair, though, ain't it?
The hair?
Hair! What has a onesie?
Yeah, I know, but I don't know what's happened to it.
Well, if you don't...
It's not going to all drop out or something.
No. No one suggested you're going to lose your hair.
Oh.
But there was something to do with... What did you say? It's a lady over here that's telling me all this at the moment.
Really?
And she's saying, do you remember the trouble with the hair?
Oh, I know somebody, Mickey.
Do what?
I know somebody who is on your side and who had the
There's a lady here and she was very upset and concerned because her hair, she lost most of her hair.
That's right, that's my mother, Mickey.
Well, she's pushing in then.
Oh, thank
Because
God for that.
she says, tell my daughter that I've got a jolly good head of hair now.
Oh.
And do you remember way back how upset I was and concerned because my hair was, I was losing my hair.
Yes, exactly. When she was ill, she had a beautiful hair, and when she was ill, she lost her hair. She
Yeah,
was
well-
losing, and she was very upset.
Yeah, well, she telling me about this. I didn't know. See, it's always difficult for me, you see. Because after all said and done, let's face it. I mean, I don't necessarily know all the relations of people. And people come and tell me something or give me something. And I have to give out what I get and hope for the best. But she says, you tell my daughter, she'll know who it is when I talk about losing my hair and how upset I
Yes,
was.
I do, Mickey, I know, I remember, because it wasn't very long time ago.
Yeah, well, this is it. You
How
see.
is she? Ask her how is she, Mickey?
She's all right, bless her heart. It's you she's concerned about, although you're all right considering, aren't you?
Is she with my father?
I expect so.
Okay.
She's hardly be likely to be with another bloke, I should think. And that don't go on over here, you know. Although, there again, you see, if two people don't hit it off, I mean, they may be tied up, married and all that, and they make a go of it to the best of their ability, but they're not really that close. They don't have to be together over here. You see, people get funny ideas about marriage. Anyway, let's get cracking.
Food. Mickey.
I don't know what it is. I keep getting all sorts of funny things about some of these people. Cheer up, Dottie!
Who's Dottie?
Mel, probably.
No, it's not.
No, it's not me. No, we don't know who Dottie is.
That little lady that I spoke to first from the
Oh,
seaside.
because she's got a dress.
Do you hear me?
Yes!
What are you laughing at then?
You!
Why?
Because you're a case as well.
Do you know why I say Dottie?
Yeah, because of my dress, but it took a long time to work out.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I could tell you such a lot of things, but I don't want to spend all day on you. I mean, you're a very nice,
Oh, come on.
you're a very nice little thing in more ways than one, but
Give her some advice.
what kind of advice can I give her?
Well, just find out something.
Your knowledge and
we all
wisdom.
need it, Mickey.
Do what?
We all need advice. It's,
Oh yeah, you say that again.
Your knowledge and wisdom, Mickey.
yeah.
I don't know, it's all very odd. Someone here talking about South Africa. What did you say?
Africa.
Yes, is that you?
There's someone,
I've got my evidence on it.
there's someone been corresponding and there's letters to do with South Africa. What did you say? Oh, blimey. Come on, get it sorted out. No, I don't want to know all that. Oh, well, she's all right. She's come over the worst, hasn't she? Not one of them days, is it?
What happened last time, Mickey? You didn't come at all.
Marshall came and said he was very
Didn't
tired.
he? I forget.
Yeah, he did.
I think you were under the weather.
He weren't very well. And also, I think there was a lot of noise.
There was a tremendous amount of noise outside.
Brenda? Brenda? No, there's no one here that night. No. That was one of them days.
Oh dear.
You've got lots of people there, Mickey.
Yeah, but it's a bit difficult. There's different levels.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of healing power. That's where that young woman from the seaside place.
Lovely.
That's
Seaside.
Seaside.
That's Dottie.
That's Dottie.
Never lived that
A
far.
lot of healing power there. A lot of healing coming out. A lot of... Oh, it's just not good. Now I want it straight.
Oh dear. Huh?
Hello. Is that Ken?
My wife. My wife.
Oh, my wife. Is it Robert?
I want to speak to my wife. This is Robert.
What's your wife's
Robert.
name?
May I speak?
Hello, Robert.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I don't know. It's all very confusing. I still haven't really adjusted myself properly to this sort of thing, but I just wanted you to know I'm surrounded. I've been very close to you lately, you know.
Yes, I
I want
know.
you to know I'm looking after you as best I can. Things are working out much better than perhaps you dare hope. Don't be impatient.
Well,
Can you hear me?
yes, very well, Robert. It's marvellous to hear you.
I love you, you know that.
Yeah, I love you
And nothing
too.
would ever come between us. But you know I don't want you to do anything that you might regret.
I know.
Just let things go on quietly. I know you're at times a little bit uptight. Things are going to be okay. Just be patient with yourself. Let things take their course. I'll look after you. You're going to be all right. Just be patient.
Okay, Robert, are you talking about the work or about the house?
Both.
Oh.
Both.
But the work's going quite well, isn't it?
Yes, it's doing all right, but there's going to be changes eventually. Not at the moment, but eventually. I just want you to be very patient. Don't force any issues. Just take care of yourself. Leave everything to us. We know what we're up to. Everything will be okay, but it'll take a little time. And don't worry. Stop worrying. By the way, did you change the money then?
Did I change the money? Oh, yes, that was all right.
What'd you say?
That was all right.
I'm good. I'm glad of that. I was wondering how that went.
Yes, no, it all worked out
You got
properly.
that sorted out.
Yes,
That's good. I
thank you.
had an idea you probably had, but I thought I'd mention it while I had the opportunity.
Oh, you're right, I
I
know.
wish I could come and give you a big kiss.
Yes.
I love you. Don't worry. You're in good hands. I won't let you down. I won't fail you. I shall always be behind you every step of the way. Just realize that. I have no regrets, really. I wish I could have. Well, perhaps I suppose we all wish we could have done differently, in a way. But everything will be all right. I wish I could come and talk.
Oh,
But I've
good
got to
one.
be patient. Look after yourself and don't worry. Stop worrying. Take care. God bless.
Lots of love to you, Robert. God bless. Yes.
You haven't got a shop, have you?
No. No, not at all. I hope you don't see me with one.
No, I didn't say. Well, I didn't mean quite that. But, look, lovey, I don't like beating about the bush. You have had some link with someone to do with the shop or the business. I don't mean to say you're exactly involved, but would you know anyone who has some... What did you say? Do you know anything about someone who has a flat above a shop?
I've got
I
a
do.
friend.
Oh, blimey.
That's why.
Yes.
Somebody is talking about going up the stairs and going to this flat above a shop. Hold on. I'm getting caught up with all sorts of things. Oh dear, oh dear. I get confused.
Do what?
Well,
Everybody lives above a shop.
Mary has
A little lamb
practice.
as white as she could be. What did you say?
I said Mary has an eye practice and she lets a flat above it to her patients. If that's above the shop, if the shop's...
Well, that's it then, ain't it? But is it to do with her then?
Yes.
But she said she didn't know anything about it.
Well, you said, did I have a shop?
Oh, but you were connected with it, ain't you?
No, but not a shop, it's a practice. I mean, it's like being a doctor. You wouldn't call a doctor a shop, would you?
It depends on the doctor. He could shop a few people.
Oh, Nicky, Nicky, you'll anywhere.
I'll go round the mulberry bush.
You know what I mean.
You got a flat and you go upstairs, huh?
That's right, yeah.
And it's not over a shop.
No.
What about that flat?
I don't know, I'm so muddled. It's not my day, is it?
Well, we
yes,
hope it is.
What do you mean, no, well, stuff of crows. I
Very
really,
nicely, don't you worry.
I get onto a different level. Because you lot usually come for spiritual things. But it's all on a material level today.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. No.
I think she started it off, that girl.
Oh my God.
Don't blame
Well,
her.
no, I'm not
Yeah.
blaming her, but I think, bless her little heart, you know, she's a lovely lady and all that, and there's a lot of love comes through from that side of life, and she's struggling along, you know, but they're very anxious that she should, you know, I keep on about it, and I keep her feet on the level, you know, don't get sidetracked. A lot of healing power with her too. And somebody, oh blimey, it's not my day.
Dear.
You got a bad cough, ain't you?
Smoking.
It's not the cough that will carry you off, though. Let's get on with the job. I'm in trouble.
Poor Mickey.
Do what?
Poor Mickey today, I said.
Well, I don't mind.
No, neither way. We are quite happy, Mickey, aren't we? Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's one of those things.
Okay, why? Nothing.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Can you speak up a little? Who are you?
Yeah, and the lines are crossed.
Yeah. And they can't, they're trying to press the button there. And they can't get through. Yes. It's freezing, isn't it?
It is very cold.
That's Leslie. One of the foremen on the building site asked me if a doctor lived in this house last week.
Because lots of people.
I said, no, not at all. Why? So I said, well, always seem to be people coming to your house with cars and things, and I thought there must be a doctor there. So I said, no, not at all. So he said, well, it's something. So I said, yes.
Cheeky fellow.
Yeah.
So I said, yes, a spiritualist medium. Oh! So 2 days later, a mate of his got a bad back, so as I came back from shopping, he said, oh, this is the boy you want. You ask him to, his mate to do your back. He's a medium, he'll put your back right. I said, he's not a healer, isn't he? So they're all agog over there now to know what's going on. But I must say, I get on with them, all of them, very well.
I've never met anyone.
It's just as well Brown pushes in place.
Yes, yes.
Was that somebody?
I've got the tapes going.
Hello?
Mickey.
They've given me 2 small lots of concrete, and they've got some bricks they're going to lob over for me, and some weatherproofing stuff. He takes all
Be glad when that crane's gone.
takes all my hedge clippings away for me.
The television at times is terrible.
I put all the hedge cuttings outside the gate, and he cuts them up and put the music for me.
I don't know what's happened.
No. Got himself lost in the...
He's got, says he's doing different, there's a lot of different levels.
He's trying to organise it.
Hello?
Hello.
Very difficult to explain.
What's that?
Marshall. He's come to explain.
There are many aspects of this whole subject of communication which are almost impossible to depict or describe. It's very difficult indeed for me, or any of us here for that matter, to be able to put into words things which can and do sometimes transpire to affect communication. Of course, I'm sure you all realize that communication of any kind fundamentally is a mental process, and the transmission of one's thoughts via the agency of some form of mediumship, we have to trust to a great extent that that which we're trying to convey will come over accurately, clearly. But it's much more difficult to put into words our problems. When you sit together as you do, in love and in harmony, sending out your thoughts and your love to people on this side of life, people who no doubt at one period in time on earth had a great deal to do with you and your affairs, and no doubt whom you love very deeply, and naturally you're inclined to, if possible, make a contact or link, to know that all is well. Of course it is well with them, obviously, but sometimes you're concerned about yourselves in a material sense, and we're endeavouring at all times to link up with you. But I must be honest and tell you, there are times when it's much more complex, much more difficult, when a certain amount of confusion reigns, and often when you have a lot of souls hanging around, as it were, hoping to make a contact. Sometimes you'll pick up, as it were, aspects of one individual, someone else sort of unconsciously perhaps breaking in. You see, if you can accept, which is the perfect truth of this whole subject, that it is a mental process. I want to convey something to you. I concentrate my thought on what I wish to convey. The apparatus which is used vibrates your atmosphere. You hear what I am thinking in sound. It's all in the atmosphere. Indeed, one could go as far as this to say that in a sense everyone is a medium. They can tune in mentally and receive a great deal. Of course, at times it may be very difficult for people to appreciate. Sometimes they may even think they're imagining something, or they're creating something within themselves. It's not always easy to differentiate between that which is from our side and that which may be unconsciously sometimes something that you picked up in the atmosphere to do with other people, no connection at all, not necessarily people on this side of life at all. You see, if you can see and understand and visualize that everything that transpires is of a mental nature. I mean, Mickey tunes in, he gets, as it were, various things from certain individuals on this side. If they cannot communicate themselves, he will transmit what they are trying to convey to him, and you're receiving, as it were, second hand. And of course sometimes in the transmission or translation there is some doubt, or maybe sometimes there's something that is said that doesn't quite fit as one would like to accept it. It's all very complex, very involved. There are times when the line, as it were, if I can so call it, is clear, the channel is clear, like indeed in a kind of way a telephone. Sometimes you get excellent reproduction, excellent communication. Another time you'll get crossed lines, or you'll get some confusion arising, or you'll be cut off in the middle of a sentence. I'm not saying that this in a sense is a telephone, and yet in a strange kind of way the mental process of communication is such. You know, there are people, and there should indeed be more people in your world, who are able to receive and pick up and transmit, and indeed distance is no object. I mean, you could be sitting in your own home and you'll suddenly receive a mental impression, call it what you will, of someone thousands of miles away. The next moment that person may be ringing you on the telephone. It's as if there is this realization, which is not always apparent to a lot of people, but it's there, the mental process of communication, the transmission of thought in the atmosphere. All around you there's vitality and life. You don't see these things that are going on. You don't know that there are these souls that are transmitting and trying to link and communicate. But all around you there are untold numbers of peoples who are endeavouring at some time or another to tune in or to link up. This morning has been very complex as far as I'm concerned. Perhaps it is because of my ability to make a link and a contact, more so perhaps than some other souls who may be connected or related, people that you've known and loved, who also, of course, obviously are very anxious to communicate, but they're inexperienced. So sometimes someone has to take over, whether it is little Mickey, as you tell me. Of course, he's not what he seems, let's face it. He's a very grown-up adult person, but he comes through. But you see, that's another thing. A person who passed at 80, shall we say, it's not 80 over here, the body grew old, the body grew tiresome, and perhaps it is that as they got older, their memory began to fade too, and they couldn't always tune in the way in which they'd been accustomed. But when they're over here, they're no longer physically impaired. They are young, vital, and they're able to transmit to a certain extent much better than they ever did even when on Earth. But you see, if your grandmother came back, as she probably is now on our side of life, very young and very vital, energetic, goodness knows what, and very much a changed person, if she came back as she is now, you'd say, well, that couldn't possibly be my grandmother. She was over 80 when she died, etc., etc. Didn't even sound like her. Well, of course, that's another point. A voice doesn't necessarily always sound as you remember it, because we are not using a method which in a sense is natural. You see, when you talk to each other, you're communicating under normal natural conditions in the material world. It's second habit to you. You're so used to it. Automatically, your brain sends the message. Your vocal organs react to respond. You vibrate the atmosphere. People hear what you are thinking in the voice. But over here, when we come down to you, we have to transmit as best we can under sometimes very difficult, peculiar circumstances. Of course, Mickey is a very adult person over here, a very, very much more developed soul than you could probably imagine. But when he returns to Earth, he takes on temporarily aspects of the old self, the child, almost you might say, but he's very much more than he seems. And if you get him on the right level, of course, sometimes, by asking the right kind of question, he can be very helpful, very uplifting, very informative. And this is the problem, in a sense, that to some extent we are dependent on not only the vibrations and the conditions prevalent at the time of the sitting, but we're also very affected by not only the health of the medium, but we're also affected by the conditions that are created, not necessarily just only in the group or the circle. Outside conditions of vibrations can interfere. You know, as you can become edgy and irritable if something happens around and about you that causes you to feel depressed or unhappy, these vibrations, all these things are vibratory, and these vibratory things can be very effective. I mean, we are very much at times affected by the conditions which are prevalent at the time when you come together and sit. I mean, each one of you here has knowledge to a certain extent of spiritual values and circumstance and condition, and you have knowledge of the things of the spirit to a great extent, perhaps much more than many a person. And I know of your very deep and involved interest with the things of the mind and of the spirit, which is wonderful. So when you come together, invariably, of course, we get a wonderful atmosphere. But it doesn't alter the fact that there are at times individuals on our side of life who are much nearer the earth, who are not necessarily advanced. There's nothing in any way radically wrong in this. I mean, there are souls who perhaps have clung very much more to the earth and its vibration and condition, and are much more concerned perhaps than even you realize with material things. And of course, if there's someone very near and dear to you, someone who was very much part of your life and existence, and they are concerned about you, although they may have progressed, and indeed I'm quite sure in most cases they have, they do cling to some extent to the material aspect of past things and events and loves and affections and what have you, and they take an interest in your personal affairs, and sometimes they're very concerned about what is happening with you. Perhaps they're anxious to help you, try to straighten out some problem that you may have. But you see, all the time we are dealing with emotions, individuals who are in themselves concerned, sometimes on a material level, sometimes anxious to uplift you out of the depths of despair and materialism onto a much higher mental and spiritual level of consciousness. And there are all manner of kind of varying degrees and conditions which can apply. Actually, you know, at times it's very difficult for us to get a clear-cut channel. I wish to goodness we could do it more often and more successfully, but of course there again a lot will depend. We'll have to go back to that again, of the individual. You may have a group, I'm not referring to you in this sense, but you have a group of people, there'll be one or two perhaps, who really are so anxious on the material level for certain things to be explained to them, or to be given advice as to what they should or should not do. Perhaps sometimes it is because they are so utterly depressed about certain things in their lives that the whole atmosphere of that person as such. If you could see as we see, which you don't see, or very rarely I presume see, what we call auric emanation. Every one of you sitting here has this auric emanation around and about you, which tells us a great deal about you individually, as you are personally deep down inside you, and not only on the psychic or material level, but also on a much more spiritual aspect that is there. You see, I don't think people understand, or never perhaps will understand, how you are affected by the power of the spirit. You may not, some people may not even recognize it at all, or not interested. They don't want to know. They're much more concerned about living a material existence, solving their earthly problems, trying to get a good livelihood, make money, or what have you. A majority of people are steeped in materialism, and it's very difficult to reach them in a spiritual sense or a spiritual level. But you see, you have to some extent open up your consciousness to the mind of the spirit, to the reality of the spirit, the power of the spirit, which to some extent will give you an insight and give you an inner awareness and also a physical sense of power. Now, you may think it odd that I should talk about physical power when we're talking about spiritual things, but there is a combination, because you see, if you're going to achieve anything of a spiritual nature in a material world, you've got to utilize to some extent the material aspect of the self. You have to give out, you have to build, you have to strengthen, you have to open up in such a way that you become a channel. In the mental and spiritual sense, obviously, that is the driving factor. But the physical aspect, that is the channel. You are the channel. And why is it that some people are able to achieve what I suppose some people refer to as miracles? One might say, what is a miracle? A miracle is something that you don't understand how it's been brought about or achieved, so to you it is a miracle. But everything that appears miraculous is due to normal, natural law, and overcoming to some extent the drawbacks and the material complexities of material existence in which you find yourself. Each one of you could achieve what the world might refer to as miracles. There's nothing miraculous about utilizing the physical energy and the power, by the power of the mind and of the spirit, to manifest certain things which could transpire in your world, which to many people would seem absolutely almost unbelievable. And yet the visual aspect of these things, you have seen, some of you, what some people call miracles. It's not a miracle in a sense. It's something you have not been able to understand how it's brought into being. But Jesus did this. All the great teachers, all the great prophets, they all had the power from within to express through the physical aspect of things certain things which on the surface seemed impossible to the majority of people, but they were realities. The power of the mind and the power of the spirit can bring about all manner and kind of things. You are very blessed inasmuch that you have knowledge and experience to a point. You have seen and you have witnessed and you have experienced many things, but sometimes, of course, you are puzzled. Sometimes you're not quite sure, and you wonder why or how, and did it come into being through this agency or that agency. You see, the power of the spirit is such that nothing is impossible to it. You can do and you can achieve in your material existence things which to many would seem impossible. All the great teachers, all the great prophets had this power. They knew what to do, how to go about it, how to achieve it. They demonstrated the reality, overcoming all the more difficult physical aspects of existence. They did things which seem on the surface to many people impossible. I mean, those who were blind were made to see. Those who were sick abed and could not speak or even put their feet upon the ground rose from their bed and walked and saw and experienced. The physical can be overcome, but you have to have the realization, the power within yourself and the will to achieve this. It can be done through the agency of other people. Other spiritually minded people can assist and help you individually and collectively. You can do much, but you have it within yourself.
I know that people go and have to go, or feel they must go, to someone else for help. I'm not saying this is not so, but what I am saying is that you should be able, if you have advanced to a certain point, be able to do for yourself what other people sometimes have to do for you. You have within you a great force, a great energy, a great power. It is a divine force. It is a living force. It is an eternal force. It is the force that lies behind all existence, behind all life. You are all in the same position to a point that you could achieve, you can overcome, and you can become. You have within yourselves the power to achieve all things, but you must have that faith and confidence. You must have that realization. You must have that strength and know that from the outer space of time there is this divine force and life and energy. You know these things, most of you, I think you all know, but you do not know how much more you might do, how much more you might achieve. You know, I wish I could explain this in words more than I do at the moment, but it is there. The power is there. The energy is there. The vitality is there. The power of the Spirit is manifested in a manner far beyond your wildest dreams. Nothing is impossible. Believe me. There's so much. Just a moment.
Yeah, but
There's something strange happened, Mickey.
somebody else is taking over.
Yeah.
Dr. Marshall, wasn't it?
No, and it slipped into Leslie and then back again.
It's strange. Hold on.
Began back.
Yes, yeah, and then somehow I think Leslie went into trance. And Marshall slipped into Leslie
Yes.
and then went out again.
It's funny.
Wasn't there? Yes.
It's you see they're drawing out and
The voice
oh
changed.
dear.
Yeah.
Very much.
It became very much like this.
Yes, yeah, and then
I know it must be very puzzling, but you see, the art of good communication, such as ours, is to be completely and absolutely independent. It's not always possible. We have to bypass the medium, but we have to bear in mind that the medium is the focal point. The medium is the one who supplies what makes the possibility of our communication a reality. And sometimes we have to use a method. If the power is fluctuating, we have to, as it were, go back to the medium and then leave the medium and come away from the medium as the power changes or becomes more potent. Do you know, I don't know if it's really important in a way, but of course it is important. We have become so accustomed over so many years of using the power of the instrument in an extraneous manner. But of course, no doubt, as he's getting older, his powers, to some extent, will wane. And of course I have to be frank about this, and we have discussed this. He will certainly have to do less and less. What we would like to do, of course, is to continue with such groups as this, because you are all beyond the normal so-called point where people are searching for personal messages, which of course is understandable. If you have lost your husband, as you term it, or your son, well, obviously you go to a medium hoping that it is true, and if true, that you will receive comfort and upliftment and evidence to support the claim that that life is continuous, that your loved one still lives and takes an interest in you and is looking forward to the time when you join him or her, as the case may be. But you see, what we really need and what we would really like is such groups as yours, where you are quite happy to sit quietly and patiently for whatever it is that we can bring about, particularly if it is spiritually uplifting and comforting and giving you more and more strength of knowledge of the things that are vital, the things that truly are eternal, the things of the spirit. But there are times when it is very difficult, even when we have the best possible conditions, vibrations, and indeed we have, as we have today, a sincere group of souls dedicated on the path of spiritual realization. This is the kind of an atmosphere condition that we want. But we also have to bear in mind there are people who are desperately unhappy, who are lonely, sad, depressed. The one person, no doubt, who meant life itself to them has left them in a material sense, and they need comfort. They need a message of goodwill and cheer and uplift. It is our task to help them too. What we are hoping for, I don't know if this is going to be practical, I see no reason why it shouldn't be, that the medium will do one sitting a week of people whose needs are, as I've already said, need of comfort and the realization that death is not the end, that their loved one is around and one day they will be together again. And the other sitting such as this for spiritual realization and philosophy, teachings, upliftment, mind and spiritual achievement and attainment. We're so anxious to continue, but of course we have to accept the obvious fact. The medium's health is obviously not what it might be. Age will take its toll, but he must come to terms. And if he doesn't come to terms, well, of course, what shall we do? We'll have to say, well, we'll do this, we'll do that, but we're not going to do more than this and that. 2 sittings a week. Take my advice. If he does more, we shall not come through. Indeed, we might not even be able to come through. This is something that all mediums should come to terms with. There is a tendency to overtax themselves, and that brings trouble in its wake, and people are disappointed and disillusioned, and the medium's name, well, that can be affected. People will say, I thought he was a wonderful medium, and they find that he isn't, at least on some occasions, and people will use, well, they'll use expressions which are not helpful and very derogatory to the work of the spirit, quite apart from the medium. You know, you dear people have been very blessed. You have such wonderful realization come to you from various sources. You have a knowledge and an experience that very few have. We want your world to come to terms. The terrible happenings in your world which distress us all because of foolishness and ignorance and the hatred and the intolerance that is developed oft times through people who, I suppose deep down inside them are well-meaning, but religious background sometimes creates a lot of malice and unhappiness. People should learn to live in harmony and in love. The basis of all religions is the same, fundamentally. Different ways of expressing and approaching, of course. But you are blessed. You know, you understand. You have experienced. We want you to do what you can as best you can, to demonstrate these things wherever you go. It's not always easy. Some people will think you're round the bend, as you say in your modern parlance, and let them think it. But you can explain and express many things. You have seen the light of truth, and that truth will carry you a long way into the realms of the spirit. You know, you are very blessed. We're very fond of you. We want you to continue. I know it's only occasionally you can manage it, but come together. And should there be at any one time any great need on a more material level, if I can so call it, we will not forget. But our work is of the spirit on the highest possible level that we can reach. We all send our love and blessings to you, and we will have to leave. But we do want you to know that although there has been some difficulty, we overcame it. But you know, you dear people, we look to you and people such as you to expound the reality of the things that are truly of the spirit, that are eternal. They're not things like so many things that transpire in the world, passing shadows. They will fade and go away, but you've seen something which others have not seen. We want you to expound these things, to talk about these things, open the minds of people that they may also have that which you have found. It's a great joy to us to come to you. We have to go, but we leave you with all our love. Goodbye.
Bye.
I've got to go. Sorry, but I did my best.
Mickey, it was
Mickey,
very
it was
nice.
lovely, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but, you know, I'd like to do a bit more because it's been awkward up with him. Although he can't help it, poor old sausage, but he ain't too good, is he? I suppose what they say is right. You've got to pack it in a bit, and he's so, he got to laugh, but that's the way it is, ain't it? You have to do what you have to do as best you can do it, sort of thing, but we can only do what the conditions allow us to do, see? And if he ain't that good, like, physical, like, then we don't take too much out of him, I mustn't. You've got to look after the medium, otherwise you don't get any reception of it. It's your television set, ain't it? If you kick it in the bleeding face, you're not going to get anything on it.
No, Mickey.
You have to go now, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You have to laugh, don't you?
Bye.
Keep your chins up, double ones as well.
Oh, dear.
Well, feel better.